Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Mэтт Огус from MattOgus.com. One of the most frequent questions I get asked is, Matt, how do I fix my lagging chest? So first, I think it's really important to understand why your chest might be lagging in the first place in terms of its development. So I've made a list of the top 10 reasons you have a lagging chest. Let's get started. Reason number one, in my humble opinion, it's got to be training age. I can talk about this one for days, but I'll keep it quick. It's really funny. I'll get asked all the time from teenagers, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, Matt, why is my chest lagging? And automatically I'm thinking, how many years has this person been even lifting weights? So automatically, just assuming you have average effort, average genetics, average pretty much everything, your chest will be bigger 5 years of lifting versus 4 years of lifting, which will be bigger than 3 years of lifting, which will be bigger than 2 years of lifting. So if you're someone coming to me and you've only been lifting for a few months, like, why do you think your chest is lagging? You've only been lifting weights for X amount of time. So assuming that you're doing most things mostly right, the older you get, the more older you are in your training age, the most likely the bigger your chest will be, assuming you're actually hitting your chest on your exercises, giving it appropriate volume and so on. I'll just let you guys know that I've been lifting now for almost 9 years. Here's a picture of my chest when I had just begun. Here's a picture of my chest after 3, 4 years of lifting. And here is a picture of my chest just a couple years ago. New clip. Reason number two you have a lagging. Ready? Reason number two that you have a lagging chest, it may be your genetics. Unfortunately, you can't really determine before you're born what cards are going to be dealt. It's just automatic. It's something you can't control. Your parents put their DNA together and boom, you're born with this set of cards. And sometimes you just might have really bad chest genetics. There's lots of guys, even in fitness, that have just not that good chest genetics. That's just the way it is. They might have good everything else or whatever, but it may not really be in your cards in terms of genetics. Now, here's the thing though. If your training age is just a year or less, how do you really know what your genetics are? How do you know what your genetic limits are? You really don't know what they are unless you've been training smart for a long, long time, like years, 5, 10, 15 years. You really don't know how you're going to look until you've actually done everything right in terms of the training, in terms of nutrition, in terms of how many years you've been training. So don't just throw the I have shitty genetics card in your first year of lifting or even in your second year of lifting. Give it lots of time, and there's a good chance that even if you have kind of subpar genetics in terms of the chest, if you're doing everything else right, you can still build a decent chest on yourself. All right, guys, point number 3 why your chest may be lagging. Don't take offense to this. Don't get emotional with this one, please. And I obviously mean no offense, but it may be that, look, you are weak. You're weak. You just might not be strong. And this could tie into training age, because if you've just been lifting weights for 6 months, you're not going to be that strong in the chest exercises you choose. It's as simple as that. You're not going to reach 80 to 90% of what your natural potential is in your first few months of lifting. It's going to take you quite a while. I'm already 9 years in, and I'm maybe just around 80 or 90% of my potential. So keep that in mind. It took me 8 or 9 years to get to like 90% of my potential. So if you're in your first year of lifting, second year of lifting, chances are you're not even doing things right. But if you're just in your first or second year of lifting, you are probably nowhere close to your best bench press, whether it's dumbbell or barbell or whatever chest exercises you enjoy doing and you actually hit your chest at, there's a good chance that you're nowhere close to where you could be. So in other words, if you can only bench 135 pounds for a set of 5, there's a very good chance that when you're benching 225 pounds for a set of 5 and then 315 pounds for a set of 5, that your chest will be much bigger when you're stronger. Same thing goes with other movements, your flat dumbbell press, incline dumbbell press. The movements that hit your chest properly for you and you enjoy doing, when you get stronger at those movements, you will have a bigger chest. All right, guys, number 4, low chest training frequency. Low chest training frequency. What exactly do I mean? You could, look, if you're a natural lifter, when you lift some weights, your protein synthesis will be elevated for, let's just say 24 or 48 hours, usually around 36, whatever. If you're on steroids, obviously it'll be elevated for a longer period of time, and that's where the bro split really comes from, where you're working chest 1 time a week. As a natural lifter, you could be training chest between 1 to 3 times a week, for example. And you don't even have to be hitting it at a whole number. You could be hitting chest 1.5 times a week, which actually is what I recommend. So say you're training your chest 1 time a week. Try training it between 1 and 2 times a week, which means you'd be working off of a non-7-day based week. Just because there's 7 days in a week doesn't mean that your training schedule has to revolve around a 7-day week. So let's just say you start working your chest once every 6 days, for example. That's definitely better than 1 out of 7, right? And if you really want to take it up, you can do 1 out of 5. Or you could hit your chest every 3rd day, for example, right? That's probably about the most I do. I mean, maybe once every other day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, repeat. But you could easily increase your training frequency for your chest, which will, one, maybe help you get stronger in the movements, which will then also affect some of the other points that I'm about to list. But if you're only training chest 1 time a week, that's 52 chest sessions a year, right? Whereas you probably could have done 100 or more chest sessions and had 100 sessions of protein synthesis for your chest in the year. And if you're training once a week, in terms of your chest, you only hit about 50. So that's reason 4.